Perfect. Awesome. All right, so my name is Clint. I'm from The Doorway 2. Really great to meet you guys. So tell me a little bit about Red-Handed Denial. Tell me how you kind of started, like the whole thing. I've heard a couple of your records already. I'm gonna have a few questions about that, but I really kind of just like to know a little bit about you because you're new to me and most of my readers and viewers.
Yeah, well, we started a long time ago, actually, maybe around like 2010, with Eyes on Liquid Skies. At that time, it was just me and Lauren and a couple other members. But as you can see, the lineup has changed since then. And yeah, from there, I think Alexi joined with Tyson, and then afterwards Don joined.
And I joined
and that would be for the Wanderer album. And since that point on, we've had the same lineup.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. So I know your new Redeemer album is basically what is the new hot thing that you guys are doing right now. I've listened to the other records. There are some pretty drastic differences from where it moved to where it is now. Has that been a current growth, like throughout album, throughout songs, throughout, you know, the band, or was it just something that a new band or a new sound or a new style kind of incorporated in to make that happen?
I think it was a little bit of both. Obviously, we were still growing. We learned a lot from ourselves, what we wanted from Liquid Skies till now. Also with the lineup change too, like different members.
Different influences.
Yeah, different influences come with different members. So.
Yeah, and I feel like after Stories, like we at least, well, I wasn't even in it before Stories, but like you guys kind of made a conscious effort to kind of go leave Stories sound and kind of go into the Wanderer sound, which Wanderer I'd say led to Redeemer.
Yeah, Stories of Old obviously is drastically different than what we were doing in Wanderer, and also Redeemer, like it's more of a rock, hardcore effort, whereas Wanderer and Redeemer are more like prog, metal, heavier. So I think that just came with just wanting a more focused sound and different band members being introduced after Stories of Old. So
cool.
Yeah.
We partially also wrote songs that are fun to play live. So we don't want to be bored on stage. So we just wrote the stuff we like to play.
Awesome. So I'm going to throw out a tag that I've seen a lot: progressive deathcore for you guys lately.
Okay.
All right. So on a lot. So I think it's because of the growls mixed in with it is basically what people are saying right now. But basically, what do you think the actual stigma to the word deathcore is? Because people really like metalcore, deathcore. They really kind of take this weird stance, like you're either a real metal fan or you're a core fan. Like they feel like new kids come in. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't agree with it at all. I think it's just a mixture of hardcore and death metal. That's the reason why they're doing that. But I kind of want to get your feedback on: are your fans more of a coming from a metal background now, or do you think it's more still coming from that hard rock background, or do you think it's a mix of both?
I think it's definitely a mix, because at least in our songs, like we try to still keep like a melodic sensibility in it, but mixed with like a technical heavy aspect. So I think we're getting people from like many different tastes, which is awesome. So it's a pretty mixed bag.
And I'd say with the friends that we know as well, and we can play all these different types of tours and all these different shows where there are different crowds that eventually do come to us. I tell a lot of people that we're accessible metal, so a lot of people that don't usually like the growls, the screams, they're still okay with this. So.
Cool. So videos seem very important to you. Like I watched your videos, and it seems like you take loving care and time to make them. They're not just an album cover flashing up or still photos. Like you're really trying to do something that fits into the lyrics or the theme of the song. How important is it in these days and age to have a really strong video over just having a song played on the radio or played on a blog or something along like that?
Well, I think YouTube it's still a thriving platform, and it harkens back to the days of MTV, where video was very important. And you know, there's even a song that, what was it, like video killed the radio star, it's a direct commentary on what it is. I think video is very important. Sound is required, but video is a good supplement to add to it, because you know, it paints a picture.
Cool.
Yeah, it helps with promotion as well. I think people want to put a face to the person that they're listening to, so it's a cool way to just put a visual to the theme. And I think that's something that we consciously try to do, is just enhance the art even further.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you're very DIY, okay? Like I said, I think that's a great thing in 2020. You really don't need a record label to be able to do what you want to do, go on the route, make a good record. It really does have a lot to do with good social media, good PR. For bands that are starting out, to get to where you are, I know there's been a lot of struggles, a lot of things along those lines. What would you say is the best way, if you're not looking for a record label, to get on the road and be able to make music and get people to see you?
The first thing I would say would just be to surround, we were talking about this earlier actually, surround yourself with people that are of the same mind as you. A lot of the reason all of us are together now is because we were all in other bands that didn't, and we'd all actually played together with each other in other bands that for whatever reason or the other didn't satisfy what we were doing, or we weren't in the same headspace as those other bands, and that's why we all came together, because we're all on the same page, we're all in the same headspace. And that's really how you build the chemistry and the camaraderie to go on the road for however long and not kill each other, or to write a record for 6 months to a year and again not kill each other. And so that's really the best thing I'd say: surround yourself with friends and like-minded folk.
I would say, as a band trying to get to where they want to go, do your research. Do your research. See what all the bands that you look up to, see what they have been doing, how they're getting to where they're doing, whether it's the timing of their posts or the social media that they're putting out, like the materials that they're supplying, what shows they're booking, who they're talking to, stuff like that.
Awesome.
To elaborate on that, you have to go. So it's a supply demand. If your demand is in another country, you go to that country. If it's another city, you go to that city. So we're very conscientious of where people want to see us.
Cool.
Yeah, and I also think, like, obviously aside from what they said, I think like anyone wanting to start like a band now, it's very different than wanting to start a band like 10 years ago, because I think most of the promotion and how to get the word out is a lot online, so it has to be like a full picture and kind of tackling multiple platforms at once and making sure like your band is almost like a brand. And I know that might take away from like the art or the experience. It's not punk, but it's unfortunately
a lot of people.
Yeah, it's just the reality of the industry now, and especially if you're doing it DIY, you have to take even more care about how you're marketing yourself. So
I think a lot of people confuse the fact, they think that the branding takes away from the artistic integrity, but we're living in a day and age where it is ingrained into the integrity now. Like it's part of it. So
awesome. So are you not interested in working with labels? Or is it something that you more want to do yourself, want to grow from the ground up? Are you avoiding that side of it? Or is it just something that you've seen that you've gotten to this step without it and there's really no need for it?
I think it's a combination of a lot of those things. Like, we've had offers, and it's more so we are going to continue what we want to do, and if a label is more than happy to help us achieve our goals, then they can jump on our ship.
Awesome.
But we're gonna do it anyways, with or without a label.
Sure.
So I don't think it's necessary to have a label, but it can help if the agreement or the deal arises, I guess.
Sure.
So.
We've been I'd say searching, but we haven't been actively searching to the point where like we're gonna accept the first offer that comes in front of us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not to say we haven't.
No. Awesome. So you've been on tour for what, about 7-8 shows now?
This is our
last.
Oh yeah.
It's a short little run on the West Coast, but yeah.
So have you played with any really interesting bands you'd like to kind of tell my viewers about that might be something interesting that they've never heard before?
Well, the band that we're currently with, they're a band called Acme from Japan, and I mean, normally we wouldn't, I don't think we'd normally be on tour with a band like this, but I think we really enjoy going out with bands of a different genre, because I think it's really interesting for anyone who comes out to a show. I mean, 6 bands of deathcore sometimes is a lot. So it's cool to have a mixed bill, and I think a band like Acme, like, they're very visual. They take pride in their visual performance on stage, and
that's kind of influenced us as well. So that's
totally.
like the fact that them as well as, I guess, Cabrera, which are going to be here tonight, hopefully later. We're 3 bands that are all from different countries that aren't in the States, which is a pretty crazy thing in this day and age, to have a 3-band bill as a touring package, but Sweden, Japan, and Canada.
No American bands,
Yeah.
which is cool. Yeah.
So that's it was going to tie into that. So Toronto is a pretty thriving musical scene right now. It's been growing more and more. I see more and more bands coming from that region in that area. Are there any fellow bands that are in your area that you would say are standouts right now that maybe somebody hasn't heard before?
Maybe so.
Yeah.
I'd say, well, they're not Toronto, Montreal would be Bird Problems.
Oh, Bird Problems.
Okay.
I mean, they might not be from Toronto proper, but some of the members are now living in Toronto, but they're more of a Montreal-based band.
Cool.
They're our really good friends, and we're doing a couple shows with them in February. Yeah,
awesome.
They're incredible. So check them out.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit about the theme of the new album. So it almost seems like there's highs and lows, peaks and valleys. Where on the other records it was more of a grouping of songs. Like this one feels, I don't know if you guys will agree with me, but it seems way more focused to me than it's ever focused than the other records do. Was that done on purpose? Is there an actual story from beginning to end? Like if you really sit down and listen to the lyrics, I think I know what I'm asking, but like, is there?
The track listing was definitely very deliberate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a total concept record. It actually is a continuation of Wandery.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if you want me to go into the...
A little bit, please.
Sorry, yeah, so Wanderer is kind of the first half. It's kind of a main character who was sort of going down the wrong path in their life. It's not necessarily a specific moment, but they get sort of wrapped up in terrible things, and then they go through a lot of mental health issues. And then unfortunately, due to their circumstance, they reach their untimely demise. They die, and then they meet the Grim Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the Purgatory world, the in-between, and then Redeemer is kind of the sort of redemption story of them reaching the afterlife.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Don't forget Coma as well.
And Limbo Coma is kind of like a standalone track that links both albums together, and it's kind of like their state before, like...
It's like the transition, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's like a transition track. So, yeah.
Awesome. How has the reaction been to this record versus the other records? Have you seen a large difference in fan base? And because just for me, like I'm pretty diverse, and going to this record, it's a lot more challenging, is the word I will say, than it has been before. Yeah. So what kind of audiences have you been seeing on this tour versus other tours? Are you seeing a very different kind of crowd, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Redeemer's definitely been pulling in a lot of people from like all walks of life, really.
I will say, like, I've noticed Redeemer, we didn't intend for it to happen when we started writing it, like, but we wrote like a lot heavier an album than we had in mind originally. So as a result, we've actually been playing a lot more heavier bands. And then when we played those newer songs with lighter bands, we're the heavy band. It doesn't happen very often, but
one cool coincidence is we noticed there's a big age group gap. So it's not like the fans are all within a spectrum of 1 or 2 years. It goes from like all the way to 16, 17-year-olds and 30s, 40s, and we like that. We don't think music is exclusive to your age.
Yeah, exactly.
You got 2 40-year-old guys here right now, so yeah, I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's why I was asking. It seemed like it was very wide.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you kind of an odd question. I hope you can answer it. So if somebody has never heard the band before, okay, and they're about to listen to it for the very first time, in 4 words, how would you describe your band to that person before they listen to you?
Genre, like using genre?
It doesn't matter. You could be emotional words, it could be anything. Give 4 words that would paint the picture of somebody seeing you.
Okay, you go.
Go ahead.
You got it first.
Yeah.
It's like
All
Jeopardy.
killer, no filler.
There you go. Anybody else?
I don't know. I would like to use like the word progressive. Progressive is kind of a buzzword these days.
Yeah.
Like even in its own way, like progressive takes on so many different elements.
Okay.
It's hard to use that word. So that's actually okay. I don't know how it would. It sounds.
You can make it happen if you want to.
I would say like open mind, just listen.
Cool.
Yeah, that's good.
So if somebody wanted to be able to find you, that and be able to contact you, because I know that you seem very band friendly to your fans, I really respect that, because that's the way you need to be this day and age. What's the best way for people to be able to contact you guys directly?
Honestly, like any of our social medias, like we're on
Instagram and Twitter are like the main thing.
Perfect.
For bandmates personally, like I use Facebook Messenger at the moment, so I use Instagram messaging, like messaging.
Yeah.
So like just on like a
big
person to person level, as opposed to band to person.
Yeah.
I'd say Instagram, Facebook would be the easiest ways.
All right, and I have 2 more quick questions for you. So if there was the dream tour, okay, and you could open for any band, living or dead, it doesn't matter. Who would it be and why? And I want it from each one of you. So I'll start with Lauren. Good.
Rush.
Okay. That's a little hard now, but that's awesome.
I know, and like
You did say it.
Yeah.
I was crying.
I know. Same here.
Yeah.
I would say Dance Gavin Dance.
Okay.
One of my favorite bands.
That's cool.
Ooh. It's tough. I'm gonna say Slipknot.
Okay. That's good too.
Dance Gavin Dance, but then Chris took it, so now I gotta think of something else.
Mine was a toss-up.
For me, it's definitely Queen.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Opening was really cool.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Who would I open up for?
Hurry up.
You could say
it's all
that. I would open up for like a K-pop group, to be honest.
Okay. That's super
Go
cool.
to a different market and just like metal
scare
and K-pop.
And scare everyone, yeah.
That's what I would do. I would open up for like, I don't know, a K-pop group called Luna. That's my favorite group. So
Cool. Very cool. So if somebody was to ask you what your band's sound is, what would you say? And I want it from each one of you. Like, what would you say Rent of the Nile is actually to you? Like, what style, what sound, what feeling? It could just be an emotion. I don't care. Like, what do you think it is to you?
I don't know. I mean, like when people ask me that a lot of the time, and I don't really know how to answer because I'll use buzzwords like progressive or metalcore, like. But yeah, like we were kind of saying earlier, just listen with an open mind, and I don't really like to put a label on ourselves.
Because I hear so many different sounds, especially in this new record. Like, it would be really hard for me if I was in the band to do the same thing. Yeah. That's why I'm asking.
Listen to it. Let's call it rock.
Yeah, all right,
just
cool.
Slap the rock label on it, call it a day.
What I like to do is I tell people just listen to a song and make your own judgment because our interpretations vary so widely from person to person.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. I don't kind of the same way. I don't like really putting like a label. I mean, I've heard a whole lot of things like progressive sometimes. I don't consider this entirely progressive. I've heard like the Gent. That sounds stupid. You know, like honestly, to me, it's just a metal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw us under the metal umbrella, but I would say like heavy, melodic, technical. Like those are things I would.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, guys, I appreciate your time very much. Do you want to say anything to the audience before I let you go?
Thanks for listening to us, and
if you haven't, check us out.
Hopefully you have.
It really is.
If I could ask one really quick, what's your go-to album? Like if you're having a bad day or you just, you know what I mean? Like, what's that one just...
album that we'd all listen to?
What do we listen to?
No, just like individually. What's that album you could just put on, play beginning to end?
I got Revolution, man.
Oh, I got mine. Mine
Which
would be I the Mighty, Connector.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I think all of us as a band, like when we're on tour, 2 albums that we always play, Periphery 3.
Oh, I love that record.
And Protest Hero Volition.
Okay.
And Deer Hunter. We're always playing Deer Hunter.
And Deer Hunter Act 5.
Yeah, we can
Don't
do
go
those
back.
3 on and
Yeah.
everyone will listen to them. So.
Cool.
3 records.
Well, we listen to a lot of music.
Yeah, I could see. Well, the genre you just threw out.
Right.
I mean, you went from Deer Hunter to Periphery. Come on, man. Like,
And as much as I like Dance Gavin Dance, if I were to say like a go-to album, it would be a toss-up between Hybrid Theory or Meteora.
Oh my goodness.
okay. Cool.
Top choice.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. Again, I hope you have a great show, and it's been awesome.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.